Alright, so as you guys have probably seen the title of the video, I have actually beaten LibraryOfRuina Start of the City threat level. Now I basically defeated Yan, Iori, Xiao and also Arkup in the game. After that, I haven't really progressed after that because I want to continue my LibraryOfRuina later after recording this video. A lot of people basically say, oh, isn't LibraryOfRuina a bit more harder than LimbusCompany? In which in some cases, yes, but at the same time, no. Because the main thing about like LibraryOfRuina is that you want to learn about the gimmick. You have to like learn about the gimmick for the game. Because similar with how like some gimmicks in LimbusCompany, the gimmick in LibraryOfRuina wasn't that bad. It just takes a little bit while to get used to. Trust me, when I basically fight the Queen of Hatred, I really thought that this is what they mean about vertical spike level. One thing I will say that the most easy to know is that the stagger threshold. In LimbusCompany, if you take certain amount of damage, you will get staggered depending on how much damage the enemy dealt to you. And depending on the identity, certain identities get more damage on certain type of sins. However, for LibraryOfRuina, you have slash, pierce, and blunt damage resistance. And depending on the key page that you have obtained, certain key pages can actually help reduce damage and stagger resistance. LibraryOfRuina is actually a bit more doable than what people basically say that it isn't. And it could also probably just because the majority of the people who have played LimbusCompany probably just press the silly like win rate button or the damage button in LimbusCompany and just do a few little like pressing the extract button and get the most OP ID ever. And yes, while it is fun to basically just gacha away and just spend all your money for getting like the most OP ID ever, you are also missing out how some of the story in LibraryOfRuina actually do involve with LimbusCompany a lot more than you expected it to be. Like I did not knew when I played LimbusCompany before LibraryOfRuina, I didn't knew that Bar was actually a character from LibraryOfRuina, along with some of the other supporting cast being also from LibraryOfRuina. And I think the most notable one is definitely Bamboo Hatted Kim was actually a reused character in LibraryOfRuina as well. It also explains about distortion and ego as well within the story if you play LibraryOfRuina, where people will actually hear a voice before they turn into a distortion or an ego. So before you even think about playing LimbusCompany and think that, oh, LimbusCompany is so good, I love the story that they did so far, you are dead wrong. In fact, you are missing only half of the story about Project Moon and everything else about LimbusCompany. I would have really never found out more about like LibraryOfRuina if it weren't for my friend telling me to like try out LibraryOfRuina for once, in which I actually did and I actually pretty much enjoyed it so far. Oh, and trust me, even if you think that you couldn't beat the game, look at me for example. I'm a person who always press win rate and spam ego spam. And people always pray for my downfall for not properly reading the game and reading past it, but I still beat it anyways. So there is nothing to worry about not being able to play LibraryOfRuina because it is so hard, because I implore you, it is not that hard. I don't know who did it, I don't know when did it happen, I don't know who started this. Who the heck say that LibraryOfRuina is more harder than LimbusCompany? But anyways, other than that, I think LibraryOfRuina is still a pretty good series that you should definitely try it out sooner or later. Speaking of which, LimbusCompany is gonna be having their Wapagate night pretty soon as I'm recording this video. So if you play LibraryOfRuina, you can probably tell who could be the next ID for the next Wapagate night. But anyways, let me talk about the story for LibraryOfRuina. First thing you need to know is that LibraryOfRuina is actually a story of the Lobotomy Corporation, because after completing the true ending for Lobotomy Corporation, LibraryOfRuina's story actually takes place after that. Roland met Angela, and Angela basically made Roland her dog now, in which she basically said, yeah sure, why not? But the main goal here is that Angela actually wants to achieve her dream of becoming a human. How was Roland involved? Well, I can't really tell you just yet since I haven't finished LibraryOfRuina yet, but when I do, I'll be sure to tell you guys the full-on detail and reaction. And be sure to catch me on my live stream too for LibraryOfRuina. Then, as we progress even more further of Angela achieving her dream of becoming human, with more people entering the library, becoming books, etc, etc, we started to learn more about Roland's backstory and also learn more about the city. Like the Blue Freakman, who basically have a sister complex, Argalia. Argalia was kinda like an antagonist within the series. Dawn Officer Sinclair, who basically went to the wrong timeline of the world, ended up becoming a distortion after entering 3 phases of grief. Yan, who was basically a messenger for the Index, learned more about the truth of the prescript and also the world of the city. They did a pretty good job putting the character story within LibraryOfRuina. The same thing can be said as well for LimbusCompany, even though we only have 8 cantos. But of course, LimbusCompany is a live service game with a really long story project, so it's kind of different from LibraryOfRuina, but you can definitely tell that LibraryOfRuina is definitely a game that is worth trying at least once. Now, I wouldn't really say that LimbusCompany is basically the same as LibraryOfRuina, because the gimmicks are still different. The way of how you play the game is actually still a little bit different compared to both games. But does that mean the game is harder? No, of course not. It's just the way of how you play the game that's just slightly different. But I do think the LimbusCompany sprite visuals are actually more appealing than LibraryOfRuina. I really like the small detail of the light 2D animation for the idol sprite. The visual effect animation are actually wonderfully animated. And also, if you bring certain ID on a certain boss of the game, you will get a special dialogue as well. You can definitely see that LimbusCompany's sprite animation are actually put more well effort compared to LibraryOfRuina. But one thing I do want to keep in mind is that LimbusCompany is under the category of gacha gaming. So majority of the time, LimbusCompany have to nerf some certain bosses that may be too hard for certain gacha players. Which is understandable because for most gacha gamers, they don't really think much other than getting the character and then grind for the material for them. Team building is also a thing as well in LimbusCompany, except that certain ideas might get a bit too buff in the game and potentially slow the whole run. But other than gimmicks for the game, I think it's well known that majority of the people actually enjoy the story for LimbusCompany and LibraryOfRuina more as the story itself than the game. So if you're bored waiting for the next update for LimbusCompany, be sure to try LibraryOfRuina while waiting for the game to be updated. Because while recording this video, the Sheep Files ID actually had just released today. And the next ID might hopefully be Headcliff, hopefully. Because it's been so long since we've seen a Headcliff ID, and also the next Wapukis Night is coming out real soon as well, so I'm very hyped about that as well. But hey, thank you for watching the video by the way. If you're interested in seeing more Project Moon content, be sure to check out my live stream as well, because I stream LimbusCompany, LibraryOfRuina, and Lobotomy Corporation, so if you're interested in seeing those, make sure to check them out as well. Anyways, that's it for the day guys, bye bye!